Hello, and welcome to the history, the present, and interview, and future of where Google currently was and will be. So let's start it off pretty simple. Who founded Google? So we have two co founders. We got Larry Page, born on March 16th, 1973, in Michigan, and Sergey Brin, born August 21st, 1973, in Moscow in the Soviet Union, and he immigrated to the United States when he turned 6. Now, these people were the exact same age, except for they were born on March and August, so that was primarily the only difference. And they both went to their separate colleges and went for their PhDs in Stanford University. And Google started out as a project for school called Backrub. And the idea was it's hard to find information on the internet. So, how do we improve that? So, the way web searches worked back then is I could look up Elon Musk. I couldn't, but if I could, I would. And it could show me a paper on the founder of Tesla or a story on a fictional character named Elon Musk who fights a unicorn. And it all determines on which paper included the word Elon Musk more. If the story had more Elon Musks, it'd be first on the search tab. And they thought this was just wrong. So they had parents who were professors and they talked to them. And the parents said, well, when we have a paper, you want to inform your people, so you write other papers that you think they should look at. So basically, their idea was the more clicks a website gets and the more links it has, which would in turn lead to more clicks, would be a better searching engine, giving you the better website. So if that story was more popular than the actual Elon Musk, it would show up, unlikely, but you'd get what you were looking for. So, where does the name we all know and love, Google, even come from? So, it's a misspelling of the word Google, which is a mathematical term for the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. I know, a lot. Ambitious if they were going to try to get that many searches. So they decided to take this full time and turn it into a business, which they hoped would be very profitable. And year after college and searching, they found nothing. Nada. So they got set up with this guy named Andy Bullsheim. And sorry. Andy Bullsheim? Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And they got set up with him and they went in there to talk to him. And he asked, how are you gonna make money off of this? And they responded, well, you can buy, first off, we'll have ads. That's an important thing, but they won't clutter up the screen. If someone's selling tennis rackets, we'll charge them and we'll put them up on the list. And basically, everyone that clicks on there will get 5 cents. And he did some calculations in his head. A million people clicking on that website would give $50,000. How could this idea ever fail if it got popular? So we went out to his car, got his checkbook, and wrote him a check for $100,000. Simple as that. And this guy was familiar in the tech world. He was born in 1955. He's about 20 years older than them. And he co founded Sun Microsystems in 1982 and was its chief hardware designer. So he knew something about computers. And let's talk about some of Google's major accomplishments that kind of brings us to today. So, as you know, they released Android, unless you've been living under a rock or maybe under an apple tree. Um, They released Android in 2008. Google released the Android operating system, which is dominated, not completely, but it's pretty popular in smartphones, just iPhone or not iPhones. Yes, I'm sorry. Android is very popular in iPhones. Yes, very much. But it's popular in watches and phones and home devices, which I guess would mean like just device you have around your house, like smart stuff and like that. And then they also released Gmail, which was huge. 1 gigabyte of free online storage and being able to email all your coworkers and friends for free. That was huge. And it's still one of the most used email platforms out there to this day. And we're going to go into some interview clips where I interview two random people who have not done any research into this topic and see how much common knowledge and different questions. Here's just some hints of what questions we're going to ask them. 1 second. So some of the questions we're going to ask is you'll see them, but we're going to ask them if they know who founded Google or even how many people founded Google and what was the formula for Google and like the name. We're gonna ask them what they can tell us about Google and like ask them to explain Android. We're gonna ask them multiple things. We're also gonna ask them about the future, and then after that, we'll go to where I think Google is going. So stick around if you want to hear that. See you during the interview. So sorry, I could not actually get the interview. I tried recording it multiple times, and due to technical difficulties, the audio did not record, and I could not find a way to record it. So that means I'm just going to tell you some of the things my interview person said. So it was a very intense interview when I was asking about a few things, and I said, "Can you explain what Android is and why it's important?" Here's his very thoughtful answer: "It's not." So that's basically all we got from the interview. So you didn't lose much by it not being recorded. But let's move on to the future of Google. So where is Google going? So you may have noticed there's an AI program on Google called Gemini, which will automatically look up when you type in a question, it'll find sources and give you an answer. So they're trying to make this more similar to ChatGPT 4, which will be means it's a multi-model. So it'll work at different data types. So it'll kind of work on like image processing and it could work on videos and graphs. And it should have massive potential for skills. It'll have a bigger memory, better planning, and really open up the way for more complex tasks. So that's really all we have for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode on Google, or as it's known nowadays, Google. Thank you for listening.